Welcome to the Swim Swam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges. Joining us today, the new director of swimming and diving for Texas A&M University. We got Blaire Anderson. Blaire, thanks for joining us. How's it going?
Hello. It's going great. Doing well.
This episode of the Swim Swam podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, Swim Swam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com. I just can't imagine stepping into a role like this and kind of having this, especially at Texas A&M on the men's and women's swimming side. You have two coaches who have just been so established and been there for so long. And then they both retire. Essentially, they're both stepping away at the same time. They announced their retirements at different times. And then you're coming in to take over as this overseer, right? You're coming in to oversee both programs.
Right.
So, wow, that's a lot. How are you feeling about it right now?
I feel great. Honestly, a challenge invigorates me. But, firstly, I want to say how much I respect Steve Bultman and Jay Holmes and the programs that they've created and the foundation that they've established. All of their former students, which is actually what they call their alumni, former students, are so supportive of the program and, are just such a key piece of that history. And, Steve and Jay were my first two calls when, I was offered the job, and just wanted to thank them and also just kind of pick up any pieces of wisdom that I could. So, the staff there has done a great job. So I would never want to diminish that, but only build upon it.
Yeah. I'm curious what made I actually UVA just had a media day, and so I just spoke with Todd earlier this morning, and I asked him how the adjustment has been with you leaving, and he mentioned, like, we knew this was coming. We knew that Blaire was going to get a good head coaching job at some point. We just didn't know exactly when or where it would be.
Mm-hmm.
What made Texas A&M that right when and where for you?
Yeah. Well, and again, I'd have to thank Todd, because Todd has poured so much into me over the past 7 years, and I really value his friendship and his guidance. And, throughout this coaching journey, you kind of figure out what your philosophy is, what your core values are, and you start to determine changes in your career based on those. And so when A&M came available, I did my research and kind of figured out what A&M stood for, and a lot of their core values aligned so closely with mine that it seemed like a no-brainer for me to figure out more and start to go through the process. And so, yeah, it's been something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I was a head coach at a very young age, but I feel like by diving into that assistant associate role between then and now, I've been able to see the way a program runs and what those roles, responsibilities are along the way, so that when it came time for me to be in charge again, I can put together a staff that I feel aligns with what I believe in and my vision for the program, and also kind of understand what those responsibilities look like and feel like. So, yeah, it's been some time coming, and I've had the support of everybody around me, and I'm just so thankful that it's with A&M. It's a wonderful place, and the more I get my feet wet and into what is going on there and the program and the future success that can be had and all of that, I just get more excited every day. Honestly, my schedule is packed. I'm doing lots of stuff, but I get more excited.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how busy you are right now. So thanks for making the time for us.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you mentioned that you've been a head coach before at a very young age, and I'm curious what what you think you will carry over from that specific experience. Because as you said, you've kind of gone back, and then you were an assistant and you were associate. You've had a lot of coaching stops, and and I'm sure gained a lot of experience from each one. But tell me about that first one, and what you're kind of circling back around
Yeah.
to now, right? And what you feel you're going to carry from that into this position.
Yeah. I was so young when I was a head coach, and I was kind of just thrown into the deep end and told to tread water. I had no assistance or uh, any kind of support in terms of being on deck with me day to day. So the whole bouncing off of ideas and all of that wasn't really there. So it was really a solo mission, if you will. So, the experience that I got there was that I am capable of doing really hard things, that I am, confident, and that I do work with purpose and intention. I learned a lot of things through making the wrong choices there too. So I think there's something to be said for learning from making good choices, and then from also making choices that made you reconsider how you did something. So I definitely take a lot of confidence from that first position, a lot of understanding that relationships with student athletes is very important to me, and that I feel that by really building and cultivating that relationship, you can get a lot more out of your athletes when it comes time to race or perform in practice, just because they know that you're on their side and that you've got their back and that you have their best interests at heart. As more than just an athlete, also just as a person. So I take that away from my first coaching experience. And I think that obviously coming into this role, what will be different is the management of having staff and being able to put, the people around me that are essentially going to be making big decisions alongside me and supporting the vision that I have. And I've always valued community, and that community with your staff, the community that you have with your team, and the place that you live and where you're rooted. And for me, that's like family. So, when I chose the people that I did for my staff, it's people that I know, people that I feel confident in, people that feel like family, and will truly build that culture at A&M.
Yeah, and let's dive into that staff, because it was just announced that you're on your way to filling it out. You made 3 hires: Wes Fultz, who you shared a deck with at UVA as your associate head coach, and then you've got Duncan Shepard and Allison Sweeney, who is an A&M alum. Tell me a little bit about these hires and what made them, the right hires for this, and why you're surrounding yourself with these specific people.
Yeah. So Wes and I date back to our time together at UVA, and he is an incredible coach, and he's also just a wonderful person. He is very creative with his training, and he's also about the student athlete, meaning that those relationships matter to him. So I primarily was working in the middle distance area with UVA, and Wes worked in that group down, which we considered like lower mid D. So he's got those kids that can go all the way down to the 50, but go up to the 200. It's kind of that interesting speed / aerobic zone. So he's really got that figured out. And I have so much confidence that he's going to be able to come into A&M and meet the needs of those particular athletes. He's also a fantastic recruiter. And I know that that's going to be a big piece for us. That's going to be a true bloodline to the program's success. So he's going to recruit real hard, and it's really hard not to like Wes. So, you have one conversation with him and you feel like you're buds. So I'm excited for him and his wife DK and their 3-month-old daughter Carolina to make the trip to Texas. So that's Wes. Duncan and I have also had a relationship long-standing throughout the years. He's also been co-workers with Allison Sweeney before, and one of my really good friends, Gina Kemp, who's up at Illinois. And we've kept in touch throughout the years. He has kind of carved himself into the role of a sprint coach over the years, although he did swim at Florida and swam kind of in a different way. So I think that he's kind of got a little bit of a secret sauce from like his experience as an
I think
athlete.
I think you call that the Anthony Nesty.
And Duncan, like he's just lovely to be around, and his family is wonderful. So again, just surrounding myself with good people. And then Allison and I have known each other for some time. We're actually in a women's coaching summit together. A&M is her home, and she's always talked about wanting to be at home. And it just felt right. Allison also has the most, she's so intelligent. Like, you want to talk about the biomechanics of swimming or the technical changes that you need to make, like you go to Allison. Like that, that's her wheelhouse, and she's a wordsmith. So I have no doubt that her conversations with recruits and with parents and with former students and everything are really going to be very well thought of. And she's an amazing person as well. So I couldn't help but hire those three because they make me want to be better, and I think they're going to want to make the student athletes be better too.
Yeah. You I couldn't help but you mentioned recruiting, and it's like we're seeing so much change in the state of Texas, and specifically in swimming this upcoming season, because not only are we seeing the new face of Texas A&M swimming coaching, we're seeing an overhaul at Texas with Bob Bowman getting there, and now A&M and Texas are back in the same conference for the SEC. Tell me about your initial thoughts of rekindling this rivalry with an all new coaches, an all new conference, and and the recruiting battles that you could have, obviously with UT.
Yeah, it's inevitable, right? It's gonna happen. Bob is a fantastic coach. Everybody knows that. Carol, I got to spend time with her in Japan, her and Bob in Japan last summer at World Championships, and they're fantastic. So I have no doubt that the recruiting battles that are to ensue between us two are going to be fun. And obviously, I am a believer that everybody will find where they're meant to be in terms of that, the school that connects with them most on an academic and an athletic level, and also just on a personal level. So I think that, we'll all do our best, and we'll see what happens. As far as, within the SEC, it's going to get way more competitive, obviously, with the addition. And I love competition. I think it only makes everybody better. So, my message moving forward with A&M is like, we're going to be competitive. I'm going to put you in situations where you're asked to elevate. And, and that's in recruiting too. Like we're going to be going after the best in the country. And like, it's time to step up and be putting together the most incredible team we possibly can. And I think the men and women have obviously done an incredible job in the past. And the men's team, I mean, I'm pretty sure they rewrote the record books in the past 5 years. So, and the women have such a storied history of former students come through that, Olympics and, being top 5 at NCAA. So it's all there. All the pieces are there. And I think, combining the program, putting those men and women together is definitely going to infuse some different kind of energy, which will be fun.
Yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of the future. I want to take it back to the present.
Sure.
Tell me about your initial interaction with the athletes that are there now. With the team there, especially as you said, with the combining of the programs, and what your vision of that will be moving forward, just in the next few months, and how the athletes have reacted to that.
Yeah. So far, when the announcement was made, I was able to hop on a Zoom with the team. So I wasn't actually in College Station when that announcement happened, but I got to say hello to everybody, just briefly introduce myself, kind of see the, 75 faces on the Zoom screen. And, my next step, really follow up with an email, and I started setting up individual meetings with all the athletes. So I've been able to spend about 30 minutes with 2/3 of the team, but at this point, which if you do the math, I'm pretty much on Zoom for about 8 hours a day, but it's fantastic. I want to know, their past. I want to know what kept them in swimming, why they chose A&M, and I'm picking up all these trending things that they say are the reasons that they love A&M so much. And so I'm just storing all that information. So I'm really, truly trying to put the athletes first. And then I've also had, communication with with a lot of the former students or alumni, as most people would refer them to. And it's been supportive, and I'm excited to keep them involved and continue to build that bridge between the current and the past. And as far as the combined aspect, the team has taken that very well. They're all very much excited about it and interested to see what that layout looks like in terms of training and, strength and weight training and dry land and all of that. And, I explained to them, like, think about your closest friends, right? They're probably close with you because you spend the most time with them. I said the best way for me to really help you understand what that closest feels like is for all of you to spend time together. So they've been separate before and now they're together. And I have a feeling that they're going to connect really well the more time we spend together. I also tell them there's probably going to be some growing pains. Like anytime there's growth, there's always a little bit of that. And I said, as long as you keep an open mind and you communicate really well and you respect one another, I think this transition is going to go really well.
Yeah. So how do you see the combined program working just in terms of a weekly training cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially coming from UVA, that was a combined program, and you had different coaches having different groups. Like what in your mind, what do the groups look like right now?
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously heavily influenced by UVA because I think we did it really well in terms of meeting the needs of athletes. And so I think a lot of that will probably carry over. We will have that traditional sprint-based group. We will have that upper sprint, lower middle distance group, and then we'll have a little bit of a combo with that distance group since there's so much fluctuation in and out depending on athlete needs. And my message to them has been, I want to make sure that you're training the way that you need to train to accelerate, right? So just because one person trains this way doesn't mean that you are also going to train the exact same way. So it's a very individualized approach in terms of their training plan. And I think that will lend some excitement and looking forward to their practices because maybe they know that they're doing a little bit more of an aerobic workout here, but they're coming back and doing front end speed development at night, and they'll be like, okay, I can handle this if I got this coming up. So it'll be very individual. It'll flow in and out of groups. It'll be a lot of collaboration. Keep it creative. Still strong emphasis on the resistance piece and speed development. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Can you talk a little bit about Texas A&M and the amenities the university might be able to offer that might be a little different than your last few stops? Because I think College Station's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
It actually is, and I'm pretty sure that I saw the football stadium from 2 miles away when I was coming in, and I was like, "Wow, that's massive." And, like, then I got to go on a tour of the football stadium, and I actually went up to the very, very top, and I stood on this, like, graded area outside that I'm scared of heights. It was not a comfortable feeling, but it was the coolest viewpoint of the entire city and area. So like not that we're swimming in a football stadium, but it was really cool to see that. The academic center for the athletes is really fantastic, as is the student athlete dining hall. Those are actually currently in the football stadium, but being put into a new building that's finishing up this fall. And then in terms of like all the resources that we have, so sports psychology, nutrition, all of those things are offered. At the pool, there is a fantastic team room. And when I was toured through it, they're like, I don't know if the whole team can fit in here. I was like, oh, the whole team's going to fit in here. We're all going to get in here, get cozy, have some good team meetings. And they have a wonderful nutritional setup with that kitchen in there, hot meals, cold meals, all of it. And I was like, does this apply to coaches too? Because I might just need to run in here if I forget lunch one day. And then our athletic trainer's office is right off the pool deck, and there's a hot tub and a cold tub and like a recovery center next to it. And I was like, I will also find myself there. And so everybody that I've met so far, every staff member has been so welcoming. And honestly, the first thing that I felt when I got to A&M was that hospitality. And I'm from Georgia, so I'm used to that Southern hospitality. And maybe Texas does it better. I don't know.
That that it's it's funny when you walk onto A&M's campus, like you feel that, right? Like
Hmm.
everyone is about what's going on there. And I think more than other universities, it's a pretty palpable feeling.
Hmm.
And so, like you said, it's like I think probably pretty quick if if it's a fit for you at A&M
Absolutely.
because it's like, whoa, you immediately know what the deal is.
Yeah, yeah. And like in my exploration of College Station and A&M, I
Mhm.
wanted to know that there were, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm a little bit of a foodie. So I want to know that there were like good restaurants and places to go and things to do. And I took some time, drove around, saw a lot of really cute up and coming areas that there are kind of getting built out. And it made me feel really good about, bringing my family to College Station. I have an almost 2-year old and I want to make sure that he gets to go to a good school and has a great area to grow up in with lots of amenities for him to go and play sports or travel to go here. So family was definitely a huge part of this decision making process for me too.
I think it's easy for swim fans, people on swim swam, people who are seeing this from the outside to forget about that like, oh, swim coaches are people that have lives outside, like
Yes.
this is their job. And
Hmm.
I've talked to a lot of recent hires, Ben Lors at Arizona, Matt Leach at Iowa State, and it's like that's one of the first things they mention is like, this is a good move for my family, right? Like this
Hmm.
is going to work out for my spouse, for my children. And so thank you for bringing that up because
Yeah.
again, it is a good reminder that yeah, it's a whole family move and you're not just doing this on an island.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wanted my husband to also be able to go out to College Station and see it for himself because this is his life as well. And so he got to go out there and experience, and we were on board, and it just made really great sense for us. So, yeah, at the same time as trying to establish myself in this program and get it going, I'm back in here packing boxes and trying to, get 22 hours on the road to move from one side of the country to the other. So, the athletes have been extremely patient, and I'm very thankful for the support that they're showing me. And yeah, it's definitely a family move.
Yeah. So I guess just to last question here.
Yeah.
Moving just into the next month, we've obviously got Olympic trials on the horizon, and then the Olympics after that. But in the position that you are establishing this new program, but also having coached several swimmers who will be at Olympic trials and vying for Olympic spots, how what will your role as a coach look like in Indianapolis, and
Hmm.
perhaps even after that?
Yeah, I think in the immediate future at trials, my position will just be one of support and exclamation for those that do really well, and also just comfort for those that maybe miss the mark, because that's also a reality of the meet. But I was able to say goodbye to the men and women at UVA, and that was really heartfelt. And I told them, I said, I'm going to be there, and I'm wishing you well. I'm wishing you the best. I want to see you do incredible things. You're fully capable of that. So I know that me being there and that presence will be nice for them. And then I also know that I want to be present and supportive of the athletes that I have at A&M, so, and I want to see them do incredible things. So, from a coaching capacity, probably not so much. From a position of like, hey, I'm here for you, that's what I'll be there for.
Which I think is a great place to put yourself in, but that also seems really hard, right? Like, and obviously that's part of making this transition is that you're saying goodbye to one team, you're introducing yourself to another, and obviously you're doing a great job at not overstepping those bounds or rushing this new relationship with these athletes. But do you do you feel like that will be hard to almost take your coaching hat off and just be that support system?
Yeah, it'll be a different experience. I'm used to pacing people and giving race strategy and, just like calming people's nerves. And, that's what gets me so tied into things, is because I know that like me saying something to someone might give them the relief and the confidence that they're looking for. So it'll be different, but I'm willing to embrace a different role. And, I think that's, the sport that we're in. You can play a lot of different positions and still, be a leader in that. So, yeah, I'm hoping that everybody does fantastic, quite honestly, and, makes the teams and advances on. And, A&M has a lot of international students that are also vying for their, Olympic berths. So, there's a lot of support going in every direction right now, which is good.
You've been listening to the Swim Swam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take Swim Swam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.